Nosipho, welcome back to my channel. Hi guys. I've been gone for such a long time, almost 4 months. It's really crazy that that's how long I've stayed away from YouTube, but I've just hit a creative slump and I've just been busy living and working, and I guess pursuing other aspects of my life, that my social media and content creation really fell off the wagon, and I just couldn't bring myself to create any content, and I didn't want to film when I really didn't feel like it because I didn't want to give you guys subpar content. So that's why yesterday I figured, hey, it would be a great idea to do an interactive video for my welcome back to YouTube. So I asked you guys to ask me some questions for a Q&A, which you did, and I'm really grateful for all the questions you sent. There are a lot though, so I might not be able to get through all of them, but I'll really try to get through as many of them as I possibly can. But thank you for the questions, and that's what we're going to be doing today, a Q&A session. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you're oldie but a goodie, hey girl, hey, thank you so much for still supporting me, even though I'm probably the most inconsistent YouTuber ever. I suck. But until the next clip, I love you all so much. Thank you again, and God ever stay blessing you. Mwah. What I've done with all these questions is I've screenshotted them and I've put them on my phone so I can read them. As I mentioned, there are quite a few, but I'll try and get through as many of them as quickly as I can. So the first question says, how are you feeling now in terms of your mental health? So my mental health journey has come full circle. Well, not full circle, but like almost there. I'm feeling so much better, guys. I'm much happier. Definitely a big chunk of why I was so unhappy and depressed was because of the working conditions that I was working under in the internal medicine department. As I mentioned, internal medicine was a really rough time for me, and I really struggled during that rotation, and that was the main catalyst in me struggling, or rather in triggering my mental health issues. And since leaving that environment, I went to obs and gynae, which also was quite bad, but still a little bit better than internal medicine. For instance, in medicine, in the 3 months that I was there, I think I probably got about 3 weekend days off in total. So that's not like 3 weekend days, a full weekend, like one Saturday there, one Sunday there, and one random day there, and then my 7 days of leave in 3 months. So of the 92-ish days that were in those 3 months, I was only off for like 9 days, which is crazy. So I was exhausted, the working hours were bad, the conditions were bad, everything was bad. If you don't want to know about that mental health time in my life, and if you're not really clued up on that, please do watch my life update mental health video that I did post 4 months ago. You can watch that for all that information. But I am feeling so much better. I'm coping well. I'm in a much more positive department. I'm in pediatrics now. I'm really liking it, and I think it's also like a different environment dealing with children as opposed to adults, and children just have this way of bringing so much joy and light into your life. So I really am enjoying where I am now, and I'm in a much happier space. So mental health wise, we're doing better. The next question is, what are your plans going forward? My plans going forward are quite extensive. So the main things I'd say that I want to focus on going forward is my social media content creation. I need to do better on that, and I really am trying to reintroduce myself to the space. It's been 4 months, I know, and I know that I still do other content, and I have on my Instagram, but I really have been detached. So I'm really trying to reintroduce myself to the social media life, or the social media environment, and I'm trying to do better in that regard. So that's plan number 1. Plan number 2 is I'm going to buy a house soon. I'm so excited. So excited. I checked if I qualify for a home loan or for financing for a house, and I do, but unfortunately the house that I did want to purchase got sold. So basically, after doing a lot of searching, I didn't find anything that I liked as much as I liked that house. So I won't be purchasing the house like this year or anytime soon, but I'll keep looking. And yeah, I'm really keen to get my own space. I really also love home content and like home renovation content, and I really want to get myself a nice fixer-upper so I can remodel the whole thing and make it my own. And I really do want to get into property investments in the future just as a person. So I think it would be a really nice start to dip my foot in the property market, which is what I'm going to be doing soon. But as soon as I start that process, whenever that does happen, if I do find a house that I like in the next few months, or more likely next year. Then I'll be involving you guys in that whole process, and I think that's going to be pretty amazing. My other plans is I want to figure out what I want to specialize in. I know it's quite early because I still have second year of internship to go, but I do want to write my primaries in ComServe, and I've really been torn between what speciality to choose. A few years ago, if you watched the TMI tag or Get to Know Me tag that I did, I mentioned that I wanted to do trauma surgery. But to be honest, surgery doesn't have a great quality of life, and I feel because of how many other industries, or how I'm like a dual industry person, and how my life isn't necessarily 100% medical focused, I really feel like something that's going to tie up that much of my time isn't going to be ideal for me. But I still do love gen surgery, and I still might consider it. I really am highly considering orthopedic surgery. I love that too very much. But some specialities I would have never said I would ever do in my life. Dermatology dermatology, imagine guys, and ophthalm and ENT I'm also considering, because again, quality of life is much better. They are much happier people even when you engage with them in the working environment, and dermatology has no calls, guys, and I really just need to be in an environment where I stop doing calls. Like calls are so depressing, guys. You're just exhausted after a call, and it knocks you out for like 3 days. And in pediatrics, where I am at now, after 3 days is your next call, because we're on call every 4 days, so you just never recover. It's a constant cycle of exhaustion, and I'm not trying to do that for the rest of my life. I also started practicing as a doctor later in life. I should have started at like 24, but I'm 28, so like that 4 years of aging, it's taken a toll on me. I really don't see myself suffering in the trenches of slavery, of surgery. But I love surgery so much, so it really just hurts me, you know. It hurts me because I love it, but I'm not sure anymore. So I really need to get a handle on what I want to do for my primaries, or what I want to specialize in, so I can get that process started, because if I am going to do reg time, I'd like to get it out of the way quickly. Next is, how do you manage to balance your life? Any tips for people who are in multiple industries? And I think I have like touched on this here and there in different videos and different content that I've created. Honestly, I don't really think there's a special tip to managing your time to maximize it. If you have 24 hours, well, not if you have, we all have the same 24 hours, but if you're going to dedicate your time to more than one thing or more than one industry, you're just going to have to find a way to stretch your time to make it work for you. I mean, I've had to create content post-call where instead of going to sleep, I'm exhausted after like a 28 hour call, 32 sometimes if you left at the hospital for a very long time, and I'll sit and create content because I have a deadline to, I have to hand in something, I have to submit something for approval, or I have to post, you know. So I don't really think there's a special secret to managing your time in a special way so you can do more. I really just feel like it's more of a personal sacrifice, because you need to sacrifice of yourself to be able to do much more than the regular person is going to do in their 24 hours. So instead of taking that 2 hours to sleep or getting that 8 hours of sleep, you might end up getting 4, because you need to take the 4 hours to put into your side hustle or to put into what other projects you want to invest in. So there is really no special secret, except that you need to put in the work, and you need to put in the work no matter what it costs you, or rather no matter how uncomfortable it may make your life or how inconvenient it may make your life. But if that's what you need to do to realize your dreams, to further your projects, all you can do is put in the work. Next is advice on love life. Advice on a love life for a young girl trying to get her life together. I just feel like, you know, love is such a tricky thing, and I'm still trying to navigate the love space, and get a handle on love and relationships. And I really feel like we all have such a different journey, because some people will be in a relationship for 2 months, and then 2 months after that this person has proposed to them, they're getting engaged, they're married, and all of a sudden they have children, and their whole life has started in terms of their love life, and that's taken off in 2 months. But that very same person might have been in a previous relationship that lasted about 3 years or 4 years, where the relationship was just dragging. There was no real direction in the relationship, no real where are we going, what is the plan, are we going to settle, is this forever? And that's just because relationships in their nature, and individuals in their nature being different, the relationships will be different. And I just feel like sometimes you just never know. Like, there's a lot of trial and error in relationships, and if you're a spiritual person, yes, you can definitely pray for guidance and ask for God to give you some insights in picking the right partner for you, or at least encountering the right partner. But I will say that you will find that getting your heart broken along the way is a part of the journey, unfortunately. That's just how the love thing goes, unless if you're really just like God's absolute favorite, and the first time you get into a relationship, that is it, that's the be all and end all, and you guys are married and you're perfect for each other. If that happens for you, please send me the prayers that you prayed. But that doesn't tend to happen for most people, and for most people you really just have to suffer in some bad relationships, or you have to suffer some bad relationships, like go through bad relationships. But I feel it's really important to view all of those relationships as learning curves. So if you do end up in a bad relationship, and I don't mean bad like to the point where somebody's abusing you, or somebody's treating you really badly, or somebody's putting you in harm's way, those are relationships that you need to leave. And if you're struggling to leave, then you need to find help in one way, form, or another. And there are a lot of industries that do provide help for women and just people who are struggling in abusive relationships that you can turn to. But if it's a relationship where it just didn't work out because you guys weren't compatible, or there's certain things that came up along the way that you really just couldn't see eye to eye on, then you really honestly just take those things as learning curves, and I believe you pick them into your next relationship, so you don't repeat the same mistakes again. But I really just feel like being open to meeting new people and getting to know people is something that's also really important in the relationshiping space, and obviously in a safe way, because you know, social media and the world is so dangerous these days. But as safely as you can, do get to know new people, do meet new people, because sometimes we get so confined in the circles that we know and the people that we know, and we want to stick to what we know, and we don't want to like explore and get to know new people. But your life partner might not be here in the vicinity of where everybody that you know is and where your tried and tested is. They might just be a step outside that door. So be open to new opportunities, be open to learning new people, meeting new people, and as safely as you can, get to know new people, you know, and with a lot of discernment and being careful and always considering your best interests at heart for yourself. Do try and see what will work for you, and honestly, sometimes you get it right and sometimes you don't. But don't let that get you down, and don't let that deter you from love, because love is such a beautiful thing, but sometimes we don't always get it right the first time. Next is, how did you decide on buying your first car? So my first car was my Mitsubishi Lancer, the white car. I had it on my Instagram at some point, but I'll post a picture if I can find a picture of my baby Lancer. I bought that car when I was in my honors year. So what had happened was, I was staying at home, and home was quite far from where I was working. I was working at Medunsa as a lecturer, a junior lecturer at Medunsa. So that is in Garankuwa. That's in Pretoria, and that's like Pretoria outskirts. So we had an old Peugeot 307 that I was driving from home all the way to Garankuwa. That car had no aircon. That car didn't really have a working radio. It was always overheating. Like, that car just had too many problems, you know. And for the distance that I was traveling at least like 1,500 kilometers a week, guys. I was traveling to Cape Town every week. It was a long drive, and it was a really uncomfortable, terrible drive. I hated it, and I just at that time was earning a good amount of money, man. I was getting like 23,000 rand, and I was working part-time, so that tutor job, or that junior lecturer job, paid really well. And I just figured, hey, since I don't really have any responsibilities, I was living with my brother at the time at his apartment in Pretoria. I was helping out with rent and groceries, but besides that, I had no expenses. So I was like, hey, what I know I do need is a car. And also, the car that I was using at home at the time was one of two cars that we had at home. So when I was gone with that car, my dad was busy with the other car, then my mom wouldn't have transport, so they had to use taxis. So it was just like, it was a mess in terms of the car situation. So I really just figured, hey, I need a car. And when I was looking around, I am not a fan of small cars. I think you guys can deduce from the fact that the car that I got as my new car this year is a really big car. So I'm not a big fan of like small cars, and I also couldn't buy like an SUV. I did look into SUVs first, but at the time I couldn't really afford one, because I was also trying to pay that car off as quickly as I could in my honors year, which ended up not happening because I'm only going to be paying it off this year, because obviously I went back to school for 4 years, blah blah blah. So yeah, but the reason why I picked that car is because it was sizable. It was a fast car. I used to play Need for Speed with my brother and the Mitsubishi Lancer, but that was the Lancer Evolution, was a car that was commonly used to race and was always winning. So I was like, hey, it's a 2-liter engine, it's a big car, it's fast, it's a performance car, and I also got it at a really good price. So that's how I decided on my first car. How I decided on this car was this year, my car battery had been giving me problems for about 2 years. So since like the whole of final year, and then this year my car battery is giving me problems. Last year it would like stop working maybe after like a week of being parked, or 2 days of being parked at least, you know, so it would give me some allowance. But by the time that I was in the second month of internship this year, my car battery would be flat every time I would park my car. So if I'd park it, switch off the ignition, even if it was for 2 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, that car battery would be flat, meaning I would need to ask somebody to jumpstart me. It was just not safe, and that's when I was just like, you know what, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And at that time, obviously, I had started working in internship. I was earning a good salary. I am earning a good salary. So I was like, I can definitely afford a new car. So I'm getting a new car. That's how I decided on getting the car that I got this year. And how I decided on the car is, all I knew was that I wanted an SUV. I decided to look around and shop for other SUVs, and I came across this Mazda CX-5 that I'm absolutely in love with. It's a beautiful car. It's a reasonably priced car. That one is like 480,000. So that's how I decided on my Mazda CX-5. Next question is, how are you doing? How are you balancing your relationship with Christ? Honestly, my Christian walk, in terms of me discussing it or sharing it, hasn't changed much from the last videos that I've posted, but I really feel like Christianity is such a dynamic thing, and it's not always easy to keep up with your faith and to keep up with practicing your faith as well as you can. And I will say that my spirituality has taken a knock, in the sense that not being able to go to church every week has affected me, because that was a part of my life and my routine, and that was a part of my revival every week, and I don't have access to that anymore because of COVID. Now it's literally like every single day of the week is the same, and I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, so I would go to church on Sabbath, but that being taken away has affected my Christian and my spiritual walk. But I still do try to keep as in contact or as connected to God as I always have been, but I won't lie and say that it's easy with work. Like, work is so all-consuming sometimes that you don't really have the time to completely immerse yourself in the Word of God and in worshiping, and I really don't like that, and that's something that I have to constantly work on. So generally my Christian walk is good, and I'm in a happy place, and I'm in a good place with God. But can it be improved? I feel it always can, because as human beings we'll always fall and flaw and make errors in the way that we manage our Christian walk. But I think the courage and the inspiration and resilience is in the getting up, and I consistently try to get up. So that's where my Christian walk is. Not perfect, but still an ongoing journey. Next question is, busy schedule, full-time doctor and influencer, do you rest and unwind enough? Honestly, no. I just sleep though. I sleep, but I don't like unwind. I don't do like things, like nice things to unwind. The first time I went to a spa this year was when I went for a mud bath with my family and my best friend Cece. But other than that, I haven't done enough self-care things, and I've been doing self-care things, and I really feel like I need to get into that. And I think the first self-care thing that I need to do is I need to exercise, because I don't exercise, which is problematic because I am not entirely happy with my body, but I complain about it, but I don't do anything about it, which is kind of dumb. You know, you can't complain about something but not do something to fix it when you have every means and everything in your power to be able to fix it. So I need to start with that. But unwinding, I honestly do get enough rest now because better rotation, so I sleep more. I mean, except that I'm on call every 4 days, but at least I do get to sleep sometimes. So I think I do rest, but I don't unwind and relax enough in a good way, and I do want to start working on that and doing that better. Next is, how old are you and where are you originally from? So I am 28. I think I've mentioned that in this video. I turned 28 this year, and I'm originally from South Africa. I am a born and bred South African. However, my mom is from Zimbabwe. Her mother was Zimbabwean. No, her mother was Zambian and my grandfather was Zimbabwean, so my mom was Zambian Zim, and my dad is Malawian Zulu. So that's my heritage. Zulu, Malawian, Zambian, and South African. But I am born and bred in South Africa, making me South African, and my dad's paternal family is Zulu, making me Zulu. Next question is, would you date a broke guy with a vision? Honestly, no. I think where I'm at in my life, even before, even as a student, I mean, I think I never thought in a closed box. Like, I didn't think like, oh, I'm still a student, so I can date broke people. And then, I mean, obviously I was always going to become a doctor, I was always going to become financially adept and financially stable. And the reason why I wouldn't date somebody that's broke, honestly, isn't because I have anything against what people would term broke guys, but to be honest, men, in my opinion, are innately made to be providers. God puts that in you because that's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be providing for your family, fending for your family, and looking after your family. And when men are in a position where they're not the providers in their family, they have a lot of insecurity. And I really don't have the patience and the energy to be dealing with somebody who's insecure because of their current state of being. And a lot of men can't handle not being the provider, are insecure, and they project. So then they start finding things that are wrong with the woman. They start picking fights, they start acting out because something has to be wrong with you, because what's wrong with him is at the moment is that he's not the chief provider, or he's broke. So now he has to bring you a few notches down so you don't feel you're worth exactly what you're worth, so you stay with him, or so you put up with him, or it's just problematic. And I know maybe this is not something that's universal, that happens with every single man, but from the general encounters that I've had, even with encounters where people were just maybe earning less than me, or where I've been approached by people that earn less than me or whatever, a lot of those conversations were very much like I need to prove myself, so I also do this, and I also have this, and I'm gonna be this, and I have this money. And it's like, but can't we just have a normal conversation? You don't have to spend the whole conversation convincing me that like you're okay because you know that I'm a doctor, so I don't know. I just don't think that that's something that is my portion, and it's not something that I could manage. Definitely, I'm sure a lot of people can, or a lot of people wouldn't mind being in that situation. I've seen a lot of you need to grow with your man, or you need to build your man chats going around, but Bob the Builder is not my portion, guys. So I'm sorry, but I wouldn't be able to do that, and for that reason, I won't be dating anybody that's broke. Next question is, what products do you use for your skin? So I use Gentle Magic. So Gentle Magic is like 15 Rand or something at Clicks, guys. Gentle Magic is cheap. It's the green packaging. I use specifically the face wash. They have like this face scrub that's very, very nice. I use it every second day. They also have a soap bar that I use on like a general daily basis, because it's not good to exfoliate your skin every single day. And then they have this moisturizing cream that I put over my skin, and they also have a green toner. So I'll put the green toner and I'll put the moisturizing thing over my skin. And sometimes when I feel like the Gentle Magic is making my skin a little bit dry and I'm not really liking the overall moisture in my skin, then I'll add a dab of olive oil to my moisturizing lotion that I use, and that's pretty much how I take care of my skin. If I can't find anything to moisturize my face with, I will gravitate towards Vaseline. So that's really my skincare routine. But the main thing that cleared my skin over the years, or that cleared my skin entirely, is Roaccutane, and since then it's really just been maintenance. So I did have badish skin. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the greatest either, but how I cleared my skin was with Roaccutane. So that's how I maintain my skin, pretty much. So there really isn't like a special secret or some great product. I just use Gentle Magic and Vaseline. That's all. Given how much medicine requires of you, do you see yourself settling down and having kids? What? Yes! Yes, like a big part of my life purpose, I like to say, is I have to be a mom, guys. Like, I can't see my future with no children in it. I could never. I really did want to have 4 kids at some point in my life, but I've noticed that that's quite unrealistic, and children are expensive, and life's expensive. So I probably won't be having 4 kids, but will I be having children in the future? Yes, which is why it's so important for me to be in a relationship where there's an end in sight, or direction in sight, and a direction in the we're settling down direction, so I can have kids. Ideally, if my plan had gone according to my plan, I would have finished med school by 23. or is it 24? 23, 24. I would have had my first kid by 28 and my second child by 30, because I did want to have some children before I turned 30, but I'm 28 now, and I mean the chances of me having a child before 30, especially because I do want to have a child in a marriage, because that's like important to me, it's not looking very hopeful. So yeah, I'm not having kids before 30, but I really would like to have a solid traditional family, because that's just who I am and that is what I want for my life. Next question is, what is your go-to clothing store? And thank you, boo. So my go-to clothing store, lately I've been spending a good amount of time in H&M. I do like the stuff at H&M, and it's actually quite reasonably priced, so I enjoy shopping at H&M and I visit there quite often. I also have been dabbling here and there in Zara, but I won't lie, Zara's not like entirely my style, and I don't like every single thing that they sell at Zara, but I have found some very nice pieces at Zara, so I will pop in there to see if they have anything that I like, anything that's a vibe for me, and if they do, then I'll purchase it. But main shops, H&M, I do visit Woolworths a lot, and Edgar's, like the common department stores, guys, like nothing too fancy or expensive. I really haven't gotten into like the luxury brand side of life yet, but I mean, maybe one day, but I'm not there yet, so I still shop at like normal department stores. And another thing that I'm really into is athletic clothing, so I spend a good amount of time in sports scene, and on like actual sports gear sites like Nike and Adidas, because I'm absolutely a sucker for sneaks. You guys know this, so I love buying sneakers. And I also have really been liking track pants, like comfortable track pants, because I spend most of my time at work, so most of my buying is geared towards purchasing things that I will feel comfortable wearing at work. And I do visit Small Street here and there as well, because sometimes they do have some good items of clothing that you can find. So when I do feel like I do want to splurge a little bit and get like a lot of items at once, I'll definitely pop by Small Street. But that's like, yeah, pretty much the main places that I shop at. Did you consider dropping out of med school? No. No, that would not have been possible. Like, I spent what, like 5 years trying to get into med school. It would have never made sense for me to then drop out of med school. What was I gonna be? I was trying to spend my whole life. I spent my whole life trying to become a doctor. Imagine only for me to be like, okay, I'm dropping out now. Like, there was really nothing that could deter me from that goal, guys. I was set on that goal, and I was set on knowing that that is my purpose for my life, and I'm living it, and I know it's my purpose for my life, and every day I'm just like, yes, girl, this is where you're supposed to be, you know? So I would have never dropped out of med school, man. That's the beauty of being in a field or pursuing or studying towards your passion, because nothing can deter you from that passion. But if you're in a degree because your aunt said you must do it or your mom said you must do it, it's really easy to be like, oh no, this is difficult, I don't want to do it. You'll be switching degrees every year. So be sure to pick something that you absolutely love, something that you're passionate about, and something that you know is for you, and nothing will shake you from achieving that goal. Best thing that's happened to you this year, besides 2020 being 2020? Best thing that's happened to me this year, I would say, is starting to practice in my qualified role. Really, that's honestly changed my life, guys. There's nothing that's more beautiful than going from being broke, not being able to afford anything, and pretty much just having no money, to being really comfortable, and comfortable enough to look after my family and look after myself. It's such a blessing. So best thing that's happened to me in 2020 is me being a doctor that has a job that can earn a salary, so I can live a good life. So that's definitely the best thing that's happened to me this year. Next question is, how does it feel being independent? It feels amazing. It feels so good, guys. It really feels so good. It's really nice to be like, oh, I want to do this and wake up and do it, or I want to do that and wake up and do it, you know? It's a different feeling, definitely a different life. And it's also nice to be free of being a student. Yo, guys, being a student was such a time of suffering. It really was. In med school, time of suffering. So it's really nice to be free of that as well. But independence is also something that comes with a lot of responsibility and isn't something that's entirely easy. I've been learning to adult quite a bit for the past year, and there is a lot that you have to consider, a lot that you have to get the hang of, and I think a big chunk of that is finances. Like, people don't seem to manage their finances well, and I can understand and see why. And especially when you're in an industry like with doctors, guys, your doctors will give people will give doctors debt for anything. Like, you really don't struggle to get debt or to get credit or to get somebody to pay for something for you. It's really not something that you will struggle to do, but you need to not be utategile, because if you are, then you'll end up in a lot of debt and be broke. So independence is beautiful, but independence also comes with a lot of responsibility, and not a lot of people can handle that responsibility. So I'm loving independence, and I'm grateful that I'm sort of managing to handle the responsibility. Next question is, what a do, baby boo? Would you look into doing television professionally? I definitely would. Who wouldn't? Multiple streams of income, another bag. But besides it being another bag, I have mentioned in my TMI tag, I believe it was, or like a Q&A before, that when I was younger, I wanted to be a TV presenter. That was like my top job on the list, or at least top 2. Doctor's always been there, but I think initially top 1 was a presenter. I really wanted to be on your TV. I totally could see myself being one of those kids, and my mom's friends were always telling her that like she needs to take me for auditions because I'd do well, you know, I'd probably be like a TV star, and my mom was just not having it. She was like, no, they're gonna crop my daughter. Oh no, you need to do an intelligent thing. Being a TV presenter is not intelligent. You're intelligent, you need to get a real job. So television didn't happen for me, but I definitely did want to pursue a career in television, and it's still something that I genuinely would be interested in doing or interested in trying. So if anybody wants to give me a TV gig, yo, knock on the door. My email address is in my bio. Next is greatest achievement. My greatest achievement definitely must be my MPBCH from where I come from. But yeah, that definitely is top tier, my greatest achievements at the moment, because it really honestly is the goal that took most of my life to achieve. I mean, from the time that I was in primary school all the way through high school, all the way through university, the one thing I was trying to achieve was that MBBCH, and now I have it. So that must be my greatest achievement in life at the moment. Next question is, who did you look up to growing up? I honestly looked up to my mom and my aunt, and honestly just because of their strength and resilience and how much they poured their hearts into looking after us and raising us. I didn't really have celebrity inspirations, because in my mind, if I could be half the woman that my mom or my aunt is, I knew that whatever I'd set my mind to doing, I'd be amazing at it because of how amazing they are. So I never really needed to look outside for a source of inspiration, because all of that I had at home. Have you ever been gaslighted, manipulated in a romantic relationship? Yeah, guys, there's like this one relationship or one situationship that I was in over the course of 2018, end of 2018 into 2019, or just 2019, one of the two. But I was in a situation with this person, and honestly, this person almost ruined my life. Like, it's a movie, that story, if I had to tell you guys. It's the craziest, and it was just like every turn it was just mad. And I think the thing that was even crazier about the situation is that I was still in it for that long. That shocks me, because honestly, from like month 1 there was just red flags everywhere, but 11-12 months in, I was still there. It just doesn't make sense to me, and it boggles my mind how in love I was with a person that was that shit. It shocks me, guys. It's beyond me. It really is. And I'm not a story time person, and I really don't know if I'd ever want to share that aspect of my life, because honestly, that's not like a thing that I want to have memorialized so people can watch it over and over again. That's definitely something I want to get out of my mind forever and never remember ever. But I definitely have been in a relationship where things didn't make sense. I knew things didn't make sense, and I was being made to seem like the stupid person on many an occasion. I was being played, thinking I was supposed to be a main, but I wasn't. I was 1 of 4. It was a mess. So yes, I have had this mess, but I won't delve into it, because wow, what that was, a movie, but we're not gonna get into that. Next is, do you think pretty privilege is a thing in the influencer industry or any other industry? I would say, I mean, definitely yes. I think this is a very evident yes. We can see it. It's not something that we're oblivious or blind to. And that's just the nature of human beings and human consumption. People will always be attracted to people that they find attractive. And then there's also different, in my opinion, different varying ranges of attractive. There's like people who are commercially attractive, where their face is just what everybody generally would think is beautiful, and then there's like the more exotic abstract beauty, who are like extremely beautiful but are not like commercially beautiful, like everybody's cup of tea type of beautiful. So there definitely is a spectrum of beauty, and I also feel like everybody's beautiful in their own way, and even though they might not be commercially beautiful, everybody is beautiful. But it's not something that we can run away from, that, let's say for instance, brands or a company or somebody that's going to try sell something would rather use a face that is commercially beautiful, because they know that that will appeal to and reach a larger audience, because what they're trying to do is sell a product. And again, how our trends are on social media and how we behave on social media also fuels that, because we follow, if you look at your Instagram feed or your Instagram followers tab or following tab, you really can see that the majority of the people that you follow are just people that other people think are beautiful, and yourself included. You think this person is beautiful, and that's typically why you follow them. And a lot of our following and our watching people and our seeing people is aspirational. Sometimes it's envious, but it's aspirational. You follow those people because you think they dress well and you want to dress like them. They have a nice life and you want that soft life that they have. They're beautiful and you want that. I mean, that if appearance and being beautiful wasn't a thing in the influencer industry, or how people view you wasn't a thing, people wouldn't be getting cosmetic surgery every second day. People wouldn't think about getting cosmetic surgery, and the things that they do when they change and alter their bodies is to fit a more commercial type that they know everybody's attracted to. So it's an unavoidable thing in every single industry, because if people are attracted to you, you tend to be treated better. Sure, it's not ideal, but we have to face the reality that some things are just the way of the world, and the likelihood of these things changing is slim to none. So you just try to adapt and adjust to the environment and try and make it work for you. But pretty privilege is definitely a thing, and I don't think it will ever stop being a thing. Next is, do you date? If yes, do you balance work? How do you balance working and being in a relationship at the same time? Do I date? Yes. And how do I balance work and being in a relationship? I think this answer is very similar to the answer that I gave to the how do you manage having more than one side hustle. Guys, we make time for the things that we want. Make time for the things that we love. You make a way to make it work. There's no way that you can say that you want something but not put in the effort, not put in the time, not put in the work. As soon as you're in a situation, in this case a relationship, where somebody's not putting in the work, they don't love you and they don't want you. You need to move on, you need to do better, and you need to find somebody that's going to give you what you deserve, because it really doesn't make sense. When human beings want something, really want something, they will push for that thing until they get it, and they'll make sure that they do right by that thing because they want it. So I really don't think that it's an impossible thing to manage relationships and family in any situation. Even as a doctor, it's not impossible for you to manage relationships and situations. You can always pick up the phone. If it's long distance, you can video call. If it's someone close by, you can visit each other. You can always make time. And if you want something, and if you love someone, and if you want that relationship, then make time. It's not that difficult. So I definitely am for relationships, and I think that they can work in any space and any sphere as long as people put in the effort. Next is, would you like to get married one day? In a heartbeat! I really do want to get married, guys. Oh, I really want to settle down and have a family, be happy, have children, have a husband, be flashing my ring everywhere. That's definitely my portion, and I'm manifesting that, and that is gonna happen for me. You guys will be the witnesses to my wedding of the year. I love love, guys, and I love the traditional family structure, as I keep mentioning, and I do want that for myself, and I really hope that it happens soon. Next is, I'd like to know what camera you're using because your picture quality is wow. Thank you so much. The thing that I use to take pictures the most, if you're speaking specifically about pictures, is my phone, and this is a Huawei Mate 20 Pro. There's some new phones that are out now that are more up to date in the market with better cameras than the phone that I have, so if you have the money, you can splurge on one of those. Case in point, apparently the iPhone 12 has quite an incredible camera, so if you really want to get a phone for camera, iPhone 12 would be the way to go. Samsung Note 20 is also a good one, but if I do have my camera with me and I guess I do want to get like a specific look and feel, I do use my camera, and the camera that I'm using is the Canon EOS M50, and the lens that I use to take pictures is my Sigma 30mm prime lens, and I also use my Canon 50mm prime lens. So those are the main things that I use to take pictures with. So if you're interested in buying a camera, the M50 is great, also great for vlogging because it's quite a smallish mirrorless camera. It's not too big, so it's a good one to try out. But if you're looking for a phone, then try out the ones that I suggested. Next is, why did you get braces again? I figured this would pop up quite a few times because the first time I've actually showed that I have braces again was in my Insta story. So I did have braces for 3 years, and that was from about 2015 to 2018. So I had my braces for 3 years, and these were adult braces because I was an adult, obviously. And adult braces take quite a bit longer because your teeth are your jawbone is quite less malleable when you're older. Your bones are less malleable when you're older, and your teeth are fixed in their positions in your jawbone. And obviously the braces move your teeth around in the jawbone, but it's a lot harder to move fixed adult teeth as opposed to somebody younger who has more malleable bones, therefore their teeth move quicker. So that's why I had my braces for so long. But my orthodontist was retiring in 2018, and when he insisted on taking my braces off, I still had like some gaps on the side, primarily on this side, because my midline, and these are small things because I'm sure you guys have been seeing my teeth from the time I took off my braces, and I'm sure a lot of you are going to say my teeth were perfect and you didn't see any issues, but me personally, I could see the issues, and I do have quite a complex with perfection. I know it's not the greatest character trait to have, and it's also not the most cost-effective character trait to have because now I'm paying for another round of braces, but it's something that was important to me and that I wanted fixed. So my midline, that being the line in between my incisors, is to the right of the center of my lip, and so basically my midline is off center. And that's because my teeth still had to shift this way, which is why I have gaps this way. And when he took off my braces, that gap hadn't closed and the other small gap hadn't closed. So that is why I have gotten my teeth done again. I'm using the same dentist as Kiamo M. That's where I actually saw this orthodontist from, Dr. Nkhumeleni, and I go there every month. So if you guys want more information on the orthodontist and all of that, you can check Kiamo's YouTube page out because all that information is on there. I'll also link the information in the description box down below. It's a really affordable treatment plan. I pay 1,000 rand every month, and it's basically for me going to be 1,000 rand until my treatment is finished or until my teeth are perfect. So I don't have to have them on for 2 years. If my teeth are straight in 6 months, then I'll have them off in 6 months, meaning that treatment entirely is going to cost me 6,000 rand, which is not bad. And you don't pay for the brackets or the wires separately, which is also incredible because the first time I had braces, I had to pay a 6,000 rand deposit up front for the brackets and for the wires, and then after that it was 850 rand every month for 3 years. So that's why I got braces again, and it's significant to me. I know you might not all understand it, but that's why I did it, because it was frustrating me enough and I wanted to fix it. So that's why I got braces again. Next is, what are your thoughts on celibacy? I'm all for celibacy, guys. I am a Christian, and I definitely feel if that's the path in life that you personally have taken on and that you've chosen and that you're sticking to, then do it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being celibate, and you can't let people make you feel bad for making a decision that aligns with your faith and a decision that you want to have made. I really think that that's important. The one thing though that I think shouldn't be happening is, I know that these are Christian values and these are values that we all as Christians generally share, but people's lives and their directions of their lives and the trajectories of their lives haven't been the same, and some people may not still be celibate for whatever reasons that they're not celibate. And I think what should not be there in the church, especially and in religious sectors, is judgment for the things that people have done or the choices that people have made. especially when they're not necessarily always in line with what they believe. Because as human beings, we all have flaws and we all have faults and we all have things that we do wrong, and some things are just more obvious than others. I mean, in church, the main way that you'll see that somebody was no longer celibate is usually when they come to church and now they're pregnant. Other than that, there won't be like an outing of, oh, that one is having sex and this one is having sex. People will, I mean, typically know in their circles, but it won't be something that's really widely known. But when somebody comes to church pregnant, it's all of a sudden a big hoo-ha, it's dramatic. In my church specifically, they disfellowship you from church, which basically means you're like sanctioned from church. I think it's for about 6 months. And like those practices are not right, and the reason why they say they do it is because it's a public sin and you're tainting the image of the church with your public sin. But it's really sad to me because we all have so many sins that we deal with, and a lot of them maybe not as public. You might be a serial liar, which is more damaging than somebody just having a baby, you know. So I really feel it's important for us to uphold our Christian values the way that we feel we would like to uphold them, and commit to them the way we feel we want to commit to them. But don't use that as a platform to judge others for not upholding the same standard, maybe having fallen along the way, because you really don't know where their relationship with God is, and you don't know where their standing is, and it's just really not our place to judge. Next is, you're just so beautiful and kind and warm. Whatever you post will be of value. That's it. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Especially whatever you post will be of value. I appreciate that, because sometimes I look at my posts and I'm just like, So I really do appreciate that somebody appreciates it sometimes. Next is, what finally motivated you to pierce your ears after the story of your mom not wanting you to? So me getting earrings, okay, firstly, I didn't have earrings because I'm Seventh-day Adventist, and in my specific religion, they don't really permit jewelry. They do permit you having like rings and stuff, but you can't pierce your ears because that's adornment, but like permanent adornment, I suppose. And to be honest, it's something that I just really have wanted to do for a very long time, because I just like the look of earrings. I've really always wanted earrings. So I really spoke quite extensively to my mom about the earrings. We back and forth for months about these earrings. I don't know how many times I asked. And she finally was just like, okay, because I was like, Mom, I really just want to do this for myself. It's something that I really want to do. And I really, in my mind, don't feel me having earrings is going to hinder my path to heaven, or God is going to shun me or disown me because I pierced my ears. I don't think God is like that, personally. I would hope not. So I got the earrings because I just really wanted to, and we eventually got to a point where we reached an agreement with my mom that I could get them, and my family sort of all adjusted to the fact that I have them. So now I have earrings, and that's why you guys see them popping up here and there very often. I got my ears pierced at La Visa if you're looking for a place to go pierce your ears. But yeah, I'm really happy with them. Definitely something that I'm happy I did, because I'm enjoying wearing the earrings and I like them. So that's how and why I pierced my ears. Next question is, how many years did it take for you to become a qualified doctor? So I did medical sciences for 4 years, so it was an extended degree program. So that was my first 4 years at the University of Pretoria. I didn't get into the graduate entry program from my first degree, so I had to do an honors. So that was year 5 at Tux. And I did my honors in neuroanatomy at Tux, graduated from that, and then I got into the graduate entry medical program at Wits in 2016, and that was my 3rd year. And then I was at Wits for 4 years, so in total I took 9 years to become a doctor. So that's how long my journey took. And to be honest, it's not that long, because I have 3 degrees, guys. I have a BSc, I have a BSc with honors, and I have an MBCHB for 9 years, when on average getting a medical degree takes 6 years. So I just added 3 extra years, which is only 1 degree, but I have a degree and honors. So it honestly didn't take me that long. And medicine used to be 7 years even, so to be honest, 2 extra years. And I got 3 degrees for it. So my journey might have been long AF, but I would say overall was worth it. And I have 3 degrees, so I don't regret it. And the last question is, have you ever had to deal with low self-love? If yes, how did you deal with it? I posted a tweet a few months ago on Twitter where I was relaying about how I struggle with self-esteem. So growing up, I had a best friend in primary school, and this friendship was toxic, guys, to the core, and it honestly really damaged my self-esteem, and my self-esteem especially with regard to my physical appearance, because in this friendship, this girl was the one who was always insistent that she was the pretty one, and every opportunity she got to remind me that I wasn't as attractive as her, or that she was the pretty one, or that everybody liked her, she would do it, and I was just a smart one, and that was pretty much it. And that honestly did affect my self-esteem. Oops. Because for the longest time I didn't think that I was beautiful, I didn't think that I was attractive, and I didn't think that anybody would be attracted to me. And I guess it didn't help that in my mind I had so many imperfections. I was a tomboy growing up, so I was always in the trees. I have quite scarred legs. I had bad skin at the time when I was younger. I had bad teeth. So it just, to me, it made perfect sense why she told me that I wasn't beautiful, and it's something that I entrenched in myself and that I accepted. And even now, it's affected my outlook on my physical appearance. I just have this weird obsession over those things of trying to make them perfect, or to keep them as perfect as they possibly can be, and sometimes it's quite detrimental, and it's not like a healthy state of mind. But unfortunately, my self-esteem is just rocky, and it's something that I deal with all the time. So I am not at a place where I can say I'm 100% entirely happy with myself and who I am or how I look. One thing I would never unwaveringly question about myself is appear. That's the only thing I'm 100% totally confident about. But the rest of me is a work in progress, and how I deal with it is that I just try to remind myself that I don't have to be perfect to be worth anything. I don't have to be everybody's cup of tea of beautiful to be worth anything. I don't have to be my own cup of tea of beautiful to be worth anything. Because the way that God made me, I'm perfect the way that I am. It's not something that I always believe, but it's definitely something that I always say. However far you can work towards making yourself better, so you're happier with yourself, then do that, so you're happier with yourself. But you also need to get to a point where you learn to love yourself entirely. I'm not there, and I've been alive for 28 years and I've been trying this for 13 of those 28 years, and I'm still not entirely oh, I love myself so much. I do, but it's not perfect. So it's a work in progress, and I think you need to be kind to yourself and realize that it's a work in progress, and eventually one day you'll get there, and you'll get to the point where it's perfect self-love. I don't have that yet, and I'm still working towards it, but as long as you work towards it and you try, and the first step, you at least acknowledge that you have a problem with self-love and you have a problem with self-esteem and self-worth, you at least are aware of your problem, which is important. So yeah, it's a work in progress, but we'll all get there eventually, I'm sure. One day we'll get there. Okay, so that's it from me. That was a lot of questions. We've gone through most of them. Some of them I did skip over because there were so many, and we have been talking for a while now, and I don't want to make this video too exorbitantly long, but I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. Do let me know in the comments down below what you guys would like to see next. If you have any other questions, or if I didn't specifically answer your question, I will private message you and answer your question if you send me a message in the DMs. And please be mindful that my DMs are not open, so I might take a while to come across it, but as soon as I do, I will respond to your messages. But thank you so much for sitting down with me, guys, for having this chat with me, and yeah, I hope we enjoy this journey of growth together. There's still a lot of growing that I would like to do, and I'm sure there's a lot of growing that you would like to do too, and I hope that we can share in that journey together. But I love you guys so much. Feels good to be back, and yeah, God ever stay blessing you, and I'll see you in my next video.